Hi, this is Kristen, and I'm making a stuffed pork chop dinner, which I have never made before. So let's get going. So first, preheat your oven to 375, and I want to get my potatoes started first. That's going to be one of my sides. So I have Yukon Gold potatoes here, and I'm just chopping them into a nice dice, okay? Leaving the skin on. I clean them first, of course. But that's where a lot of the fiber and vitamins are. So I wanted to leave the skin on. And, you know, my knife cuts aren't really all really consistent here. They're pretty close, you know, because you want all the potatoes to cook evenly or, you know, roast. But anyway, we're getting the job done. We're getting the job done. So I've roasted potatoes many times before, but in this instance, I am using French onion soup mix as my seasoning, which I have never done before. And, you know, I'll tell you what, man, I'm going to make them like this from now on. These potatoes turned out so creamy. I think these are a lot better than russet potatoes, in my opinion. And they're less starchy, so that's good too. But yeah, they just turned out so creamy and flavorful. These were delicious. So I'm just drizzling them generously with some olive oil. So this is so that the seasoning will stick. And I had 2 partial packets of the onion soup mix in my pantry, and I wanted to use those up. So, but I would just, if I didn't have those, I would just use one whole packet of the onion soup mix. But these two together is one full packet. So just sprinkle it on and get your spatula in there and really coat all of the potatoes in the oil and the seasoning, just to make sure that everybody gets a really good bite with their dinner, and all their sides here. So yeah, just mixing them around really quick. I'm roasting these pretty low at 375. That's what temperature the pork is gonna bake at also. So I just wanted everything to kind of finish at the same time. So I wanted to get these in the oven first so they can really start roasting right away and get done. I'm adding dillweed. I love dillweed. I just kind of felt the oniony flavor would really go well with these potatoes. I also sprinkled on some garlic powder too. And I did add, I know this onion soup mix probably has plenty of salt, but I just wanted to make sure these were seasoned well, so I did sprinkle a little bit of salt on them too. Not much, I did just a little bit. So I have a large baking sheet here with parchment paper to make sure they don't stick. And I'm just spreading the potatoes evenly, you know, trying to get them into an even layer. I think this was like 5 or 6 potatoes, just regular size, not, you know, baby, but just 5 or 6 Yukons. So then I'm putting these in the oven right away, and then I can get started on the pork chops, the main star of the show here. I have 3 large pork chops here. They are bone in. So I'm just trying to trim off some of the fat. You know, you don't want to get rid of all of it because fat equals flavor, right? And we don't want these to be dried out and not flavored at all. So leave on a little bit of the fat, which is what I'm kind of doing here. These are pretty large pork chops, so I thought these would work really well for stuffed pork chops. And I've just never made them before, so I wanted to give it a go here. Okay, so after I've trimmed off the fat, then I'm going to take my knife and kind of create a little pocket here in the middle. As you can see, this is kind of hard to do. It's kind of like butterflying, but you know, you're not cutting all the way through and opening it up all the way. I'm just trying to create a nice pocket for the stuffing to go into. So, just trying here. There is a bone in the back here of the chop, so it was kind of hard to get a nice sized pocket in there. But just do the best you can. The point is just to not totally butterfly the chops. You want to leave them, you know, somewhat intact so you can stuff them with the stuffing. I'm using leftover Thanksgiving stuffing for these, by the way. I thought that would be another way to get to use up some of the leftovers from Thanksgiving, because I made too much, of course. So I thought that's what actually prompted me to make this recipe. But see, look, the pocket turned out pretty good, actually. It's kind of even, right? Ish. Kind of. But anyway, just cutting a little slit in there. Just like that. See, I kind of butchered this smaller one here. But it's okay. I just put some stuffing in there anyway. And it was fine. Okay, and to season the outside of the chops, I'm sprinkling a packet of ranch seasoning. Just patting that in. But you can season with whatever you like. I will link this recipe for you in the description box, as always. But I thought the ranch seasoning would just work really well with the Thanksgiving stuffing or dressing, I guess. Yeah, I don't stuff my turkey, so dressing. So I'm just sprinkling it all over both sides. You could even sprinkle a little bit inside of the pocket if you wanted. So here is my dressing. I just spooned out what I thought I might use because I don't want to contaminate the rest of the dressing. So I just took out a little bit and stuffed away. Here we go. I'll show you a nicer angle here. Just stuff it in there. Try and get as much as you can in there. And then I've seen other recipes where they use toothpicks to keep the pork chop closed while it's baking, but I didn't do that. I don't think it was really necessary. They fit really nice and snugly in the baking dish that I used, so I didn't think I would need to keep these closed, you know, so the stuffing didn't fall out. I mean, they were fine. Nothing, you know, everything stayed in there. So I'm just gonna stuff these as best as I can here. And the dressing it turned out really moist and flavorful with the juices from the pork chops. So that was a bonus right there. Yeah, see, this one's a smaller one. It was kind of hard to get a good amount in there, so, of the dressing. But, anywho. So then I'm going to use a little bit of broth, chicken broth, on the bottom of my baking dish, just so that the pork chops don't dry out while they're baking. I saw that was a tip in a video I watched, so I thought that I wanted to do that with mine. And then we just put them in the dish. This is a 2.5 quart dish, I think, or you could use a 9x13 or a baking pan, whatever, you know, you want to use is fine. A baking sheet, that would work too. But as you can see, they fit in there really nice, so they were just fine. So I'm putting the pork chops in along with the potatoes there, and I'm going to make a little gravy to go on top. So I'm going to throw 2 tablespoons of butter into this pan here. Get that melted down, and then I'll add in 2 tablespoons of flour. And stir that around. And I'll cook the flour here for a little bit and get that raw taste out. Just make sure we cook that flour down pretty well. And then I'll throw in some of this chicken broth. I used probably about 2 cups, I would say. Whisking as you're pouring in. Helps get rid of the lumps and bumps. And as you can see, my pork chops are done at that point. You want the temperature to be at 145. That's the safe temp for pork to be done. And as you can see, we're there. Perfect. So I just covered it with foil while I finished the rest of the dinner. We have some roasted broccoli to go on the alongside. Just spooning some gravy over top. And this was really, really a great dinner. Like I said, look, those potatoes just turned out beautiful, just nice and crusty, and really good with that French onion soup mix. Next time, give that a try. You'll love it. And I appreciate you stopping by my channel, and please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.